Hey there, people. I am the Goblin King, and I welcome you back to another weekly rant. Honestly, I should just rename this section to Rants and leave it at that. I skipped it last week because I just wasn't angry enough about anything that week to rant about it. It's happened more than once, too, skipping these videos either because life got in the way, or because I just wasn't truly angry enough about anything to get a good rant on. I mean, I'm in a perpetual state of low boil just about every day of my life, and I can get pissed pretty easily, but I have to be legit righteously angry before I can turn on a rant like I do in these videos. That's an issue when it comes to trying to pop out a video like this, basically on demand, every week. All in all though, I'm probably just making excuses for being lazy. Could be. Nonetheless, I do have a nice one for you this evening. This one is about gatekeeping, and it sort of falls in line with a lot of these videos that I've been doing in recent weeks. Before I get into all of that, I have to give a nice hat tip to a fellow YouTuber by the handle Rev Says Des. One of his more recent videos reminded me of this Forbes article, and got my anger juices to more of a simmer in order that I might put out a bit more content this week. Alright, so the entire premise of this short but sweet article is that fans that are gatekeeping shit never really have. Especially, nobody is gatekeeping any sort of hobby now, in the age where access to any hobby anybody could possibly want to be a part of can be found with a fucking Google search. There are social media pages dedicated to all sorts of fandoms, Facebook groups, Twitter accounts, YouTube personalities, blogs, vlogs. If you're more old school, probably even still entire chat rooms or forums. All dedicated to various anime, tabletop games, video games, role-playing games, archery, martial arts, fucking blacksmithing, okay? If you want access to any sort of fucking hobby, it's really not difficult to find the groups or information dedicated to the thing that takes your interest. Love South Korean comics? Hey, there's fucking webtoons. Really curious about anime, manga, or light novels? There are a legit fuck ton of sites you can get where you have access to more of that shit than you ever thought you might want. Hell, I have a damned anime review segment on this very channel for the goddess' sake. You want to play D&D? Or really any role-playing game? There are a multitude of D&D channels on various streaming platforms, many of which are there specifically to help noobs learn the game. There are various sites which allow you to find a table wherever you might be in order to play in person. Don't want to play in person, or there's no table where you're at? Well, you're in luck, sweet cheeks, because there are any number of sites or tools out there for you to successfully run a game with a bunch of your other friends from the safety of your own dank cave over your computer. There's really never been a better time to be a nerd with a nerdy hobby. In theory. I've already made any number of videos now talking about the crazy cult bullshit fiesta that's going on over at Wizards of the Coast and Paizo even now, and it all stems from the shit this Forbes article talks about. This guy, Ollie Barter, uses anime as an example, but this type of, let's call it what it is, fascist dictator bullshit goes well beyond the anime community. It has its slimy, nasty, stinking tendrils in probably every single hobby at this point, from anime to D&D and its ilk, to Warhammer 40k, to movies, comics, and professional sports ball. Literally everything. It's fucking insidious too. It makes its way into a hobby by pretending to want to be a part of it. Once it's firmly ensconced, however, its real work begins. It starts to demand changes be made to the hobby in order to be more accepting and inclusive of everybody that might be interested. Now, nobody, especially nerds, want to feel like they're keeping anybody out of the thing they love, so they listen attentively to what the garbage neo-fascist is saying. It starts a little bit at a time. Oh, don't you think this hobby would be that much better if it did this small thing? Oh, don't you think it would make this group feel a little more comfortable if you did that thing? Soon, the soft suggestions rolling hypnotically from that forked tongue become full-throated orders and screeches of demand. If you don't make this change, then you're an istaphobe. If the fandoms of the various hobbies start to catch wind of what these garbage neo-fascists are doing and begin to push back, they run and screech on the nearest social media platform about the dreaded gatekeepers. These toxic man-babies wouldn't make this small change just to accommodate me. They were gatekeeping. and told me I couldn't be part of their table because I'm gay and black and trans and Cherokee and a practicing Islamic moon pagan and a non-binary neurodivergent who identifies as a 33-sided dice. Then, from that point on, we all know how it goes. That one person raised the attention flag and got all the other attention whores to jump on the bandwagon and start coming out to speak their truths about how those nasty, toxic fans gatekept them from whatever hobby because they identified as spiritual bunny rabbits. Then the mainstream urinalists come in because they can smell clicks in the water to tell their half-truths and outright lies by twisting the events to fit the narrative they want. They demand these various companies supporting or creating these hobbies do better. All of this, the entire clown show, is done as a way to gain and maintain power over the specific hobby. As I said, we're seeing it in real time right now with both Dungeons & Dragons and Pathfinder. The companies that control these products bowing down to lick the boots of a small minority of screeching assholes who may or may not have a consensus or even a very popular opinion. D&D yeeting out entire sections of monster lore from their main books over accusations of racism. Paizo doing the same thing to appease one shrieking asshole who got triggered over the idea of pretend slavery existing in a fantasy realm. Oh, and as an addendum to the rant I did on that dumbassery, there was literally a write-up in those Pathfinder books that strongly discouraged game masters from allowing players to own slaves, and there were no actual rules for owning slaves, despite what that dipshit said. Despite what that dipshit lied about. All because those dirty, nerdy old heads were a bunch of fucking racist, sexist, istophobic gatekeepers to a hobby that, especially now, literally anybody can join. And I'm pretty goddamn sure that's all I've got for this one, folks. Don't forget to leave a comment down below, smash those like and subscribe buttons if you like. I'll see you on Wednesday to talk about an old movie I like. Lates.
この恨み、地獄へ流します。